When I collapsed at work, the doctors called my parents. They never came. 3 days later, still hooked up to machines, I opened my phone. And there it was. My family, smiling in a photo I'd been tagged in. Family day without the drama. That caption burned more than the IV in my arm. I didn't text. I didn't cry. I just watched the likes climb, wondering when family stopped meaning love and started meaning performance. 4 days later, 74 missed calls, and one message from Dad, "We need you." That's when everything changed, just not the way they expected. I used to think exhaustion was just part of being dependable. At Green Tech, deadlines were endless, and somehow I was always the one who stayed late, the one who held things together. People said I had the kind of discipline that scared them. They didn't know it wasn't drive. It was survival, because every hour I worked wasn't just for me. It was for the people waiting at home to be rescued again. Dad, out of work since the housing crash. Mom, saying he just needed time. My paycheck became his time. My sister Marissa, the influencer, always launching something new. A podcast, a candle line, a wellness brand. Each failed faster than the last. I kept helping. Quick transfers labeled help, or just this month. And Peyton, the youngest, the peacekeeper, she never argued. She just borrowed quietly and forgot loudly. From the outside, we looked perfect. Smiling family, matching sweaters, holiday cards. Online, Marissa called us the Millers, proof that love is everything. She posted that right after I paid Mom's car insurance and the late mortgage fee. Love apparently had a balance due. Grandpa Joe was the only one who ever saw through it. 40 years as an accountant. He could read people like spreadsheets. You can't audit love, he told me once, but you'll know when the numbers stop adding up. He warned me that my parents had started seeing me as the fallback plan. I didn't believe him. I was raised to think loyalty fixed everything, so I kept fixing, until it broke me. The night before I collapsed, I was still in the office at 10. My chest had been tightening for weeks, my vision fading. I thought it was stress. It wasn't. Marissa texted, "Can you cover my rent? Promise I'll pay you back." I typed a reply, deleted it, then typed again. Sure. That was the last message I sent before the floor came up to meet me. Hospital lights are too white, too clean, like they're trying to erase what happened. When I opened my eyes, everything blurred. Ceiling tiles, IV lines, the nurse's face. "Do you know where you are?" she asked. I didn't answer. I was still trying to remember what day it was. The doctor's voice was calm but distant. "Cardiac event. You were lucky your coworker acted fast." Lucky. That word stung. Luck shouldn't be what keeps you alive. Love should. They told me they'd called my parents. No answer. No visits. No messages. Hours passed. Sunlight crawled across the wall and disappeared again. On the third day, they handed me my phone. Charged. Waiting. I opened it and saw them. Smiling. Laughing. Family day without the drama. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. The monitor beside me beeped faster, keeping time with my anger. They had erased me while pretending to celebrate family. A nurse passed by. "Need anything?" "No," I said softly. "I think I've had enough." I didn't comment, didn't call, didn't cry, just stared until the phone dimmed. That calm I felt. It wasn't peace. It was clarity. By the 4th day, I started walking again, slow and shaky. Recovery, the doctor said, would take weeks. He didn't know it wasn't just my heart that needed healing. Then the phone buzzed again. 74 missed calls. And one text from Dad. "We need you. Call immediately." No apology. No how are you? Just urgency. Command. I read it once, then again, and almost laughed. They ignored me when I needed them most. And now they wanted saving. Not this time. I scrolled to Grandpa Joe's name, the only one that still meant safety. He answered on the second ring. "You don't have to explain," he said quietly. That was the first time in years someone spoke to me like I mattered. Grandpa Joe arrived 40 minutes later, old windbreaker, calm eyes. He sat beside me and said, "So they finally broke you, huh?" I smiled weakly. "Guess so." He didn't ask for details. He already knew. Instead, he talked to the nurse, reviewed my bills, made sure everything was covered. When the clerk mentioned unpaid balances, he pulled out his tablet. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Taking stock," he said. "Before you cut cords, you need to know where they lead." And we did. Every transfer, every auto payment, Marissa's rent, Peyton's utilities, Mom's insurance. Money bleeding slowly out of me, week after week. How did I let this happen? I whispered. You thought it was love, he said. They thought it was obligation. Different math. That night, under the hospital hum, he showed me how to shut it all off, one by one. Not out of revenge, out of survival. The next morning, I called the bank. By noon, the auto transfers were gone. By evening, my phone was lighting up. Mom, why didn't you tell us? Peyton, it's all a misunderstanding. I ignored them all. You feel guilty yet? Grandpa Joe asked. Yeah, I admitted. That'll pass, he said, folding his paper. Guilt's the tax good people pay before freedom. Days later, I went home, silenced my phone, watched the rain. Another message from Dad. This is serious. Everything's falling apart. They mistook my silence for surrender. They didn't know silence was the sound of taking back control. 2 days later, I was at Grandpa Joe's house in Portland. He'd cleared the dining table, spread out files like a general before war. Every story leaves a paper trail, he said. Yours just happens to be in dollars. By the end, the picture was clear. I hadn't been helping them. I'd been financing their illusion. And when I stopped, the illusion collapsed. Marissa posted a crying video. Sometimes blood doesn't mean family. The comments exploded. But then, the internet turned. People stitched her post beside that old family day without the drama photo. The truth started speaking for itself, and their perfect image fell apart. By Friday, their finances, their followers, their facade, all gone. Grandpa Joe handed me his coffee. You didn't have to lift a finger, he said. The truth handled itself. That night, Mom texted, Please, can we talk? I looked at it for a long time, then turned off my phone. A week later, a courier brought a letter. My father's handwriting. A new will. Ava is disinherited until she reconciles. I laughed. They still thought I wanted something. I didn't. I signed my final response through my attorney. I waive all rights to the estate. Permanent no contact. Freedom doesn't need inheritance. 2 weeks later, Grandpa Joe and I packed our things and drove east toward Colorado. He said he wanted to see the mountains before winter. I didn't argue. For once, I didn't need to. The cabin we rented sat between pine trees and silence. No noise, no drama, no performance, just peace. I worked fewer hours, slept better. The world finally stopped spinning. Sometimes messages still come, distant relatives, strangers online. I don't reply. My truth doesn't need witnesses anymore. Grandpa Joe watched me one morning and said, You did it. You broke the cycle. I smiled. It only cost everything. He chuckled. That's the discount price. He was right, because what I gained as was myself. I used to think silence meant defeat. Now I know it's a boundary, a kind of peace that doesn't need permission. If you've ever been called selfish for putting yourself first, I hope this reminds you that choosing peace isn't betrayal. It's survival. They can keep their posts, their pity, their version of the truth. I'll keep my stillness, my laughter, my life.